So shift from multilateral to unilateral, I'm not sure we can talk about such a shift. I think you have both types of sanctions, both multilateral and unilateral sanctions that have been around for quite some time now. What we can see, however, is that multilateral sanctions, and primarily UN sanctions, have had a hard time to go through. And so in the instances of countries such as Syria or Venezuela, the UN doesn't seem to be able to reach a consensus there. So at the UN level, it's difficult to reach that consensus. And what we observe instead is a different form of multilateral sanctions in smaller group of countries. And the recent example of the Belarus sanctions, or sanctions in relation to Xinjiang, is another form of multilateral sanctions that gathered certain Western powers, not the full spectrum of UN member states, but a smaller set of countries that align their foreign policy objectives. That's the evolution of the multilateral sanctions, and on top of that, there continues to be a significant use of unilateral measures for foreign policy objectives that are really specific to a particular country. There were definitely significant expectations by the sanctions industry that Biden would change the sanctions policy entirely. If we look at the actual figures, like the rhythm and the amount of designations under the Biden administration, that first year in office didn't result in significant shifts. Actually, we continue to see a steady set of designations being issued by the US authorities. What might have changed, however, is the tone used by the US administration, and also the commitment, or at least the commitment that is displayed towards more cooperation with foreign partners, and not just pursuing purely US foreign policy objectives. The new administration has shown its intention to cooperate and seek alignment with other countries as well. Snowball effect of sanctions. So that's an interesting metaphor, but basically what we mean by that is the growing amount of topics that are being addressed through sanctions. So traditionally you had essentially country-based sanctions, whereas a country was targeting an adversary country through sanctions. What we have seen after 2001 are thematic sanctions, so first targeted against terrorism. That was really the first thematic sanction program. But that thematic focus has expanded over time and now includes an increasing number of topics. So we had sanctions in relation to WMD proliferation, in relation to narcotics trafficking, in relation to cybercrime, etc., etc., etc. And basically states find it, seemingly they find it convenient to use sanctions to address a growing number of topics through sanctions. And the most recent topic that is being targeted through sanctions are human rights abuses and corruption, the so-called Magnitsky-like sanctions, which emerged in the US and have progressively expanded and have been adopted in various other countries as well.